Hi friends, welcome back to Glowing Anyway. Today, we're going there. We are talking about the one thing that quietly controls way too many of our lives. Mom guilt. You know that constant nagging voice that tells you you're not doing enough, you're not present enough, you're not Pinterest mom enough. And it's funny because half the time, the people around us aren't even judging us. It's your own inner voice. And spoiler alert, that voice is lying, okay? So today we're unpacking where mom guilt comes from, how it's literally been studied by psychologists, how I've personally fought through it, and most importantly, how you can start shutting it down starting today. Okay, first step, let's define this, because we toss the phrase mom guilt around, but how many of us actually stop and ask, what is mom guilt? So psychologists actually describe mom guilt as a form of role strain, right? Meaning you've got competing roles, mom, woman, partner, maybe daughter, employee, entrepreneur, whatever else is going on in your life, okay? And you constantly feel like you're failing one while tending to another. A 2020 study in the Journal of Family Studies found that nearly 80% of moms report feeling guilty daily. Daily. Let that sink in. That's not once in a while I mess up and I feel bad about it. That's like waking up and then going to bed with guilt as your alarm clock and your lullaby. And here's the kicker. I didn't even know this was a thing, guys, okay? Dad guilt? It exists, but studies show it doesn't show up nearly as often or as intensely. Why? Because society hasn't put the same unrealistic expectations on fathers. Moms, on the other hand, get fed this narrative that we must be selfless to the point of non-existence. That's not love. That is erasing yourself. Mom guilt isn't love. Mom guilt is erasing yourself without even noticing it. So let's break down the sources of mom guilt, because this thing is layered like an onion, or like the laundry pile I swore that I would fold a few days ago, but we're not going to go there. The number one source of mom guilt is society. The cultural blueprint of a good mom is still tied to sacrifice. You're praised when you give it all up for your kids, but you're judged if you dare to chase your dreams while raising them. I saw a survey once where moms literally reported feeling judged just for going to the gym. Just for going to the gym. Like, I am so sorry. I'm so terribly sorry. Me lifting a dumbbell is not going to cause trauma to my child. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Number 2 is social media. You guys, comparison is wild. Comparison is the thief of joy. Say it with me. Comparison is the thief of joy. You see a mom online with alphabetized snacks in a color-coded pantry, and suddenly you feel guilty that your kid had goldfish straight out of the box. But here's the truth. That mom might be filming for content, not living like that every day, okay? A lot of the stuff you see online is not real. I've said it before, I will say it a billion times again. Half the time, their kid probably begged for McDonald's just like yours. People put out very different things online in a way that they want to be perceived, okay? Number 3, our own fears. And this one hurts because a lot of mom guilt is really about our own childhood wounds, right? Maybe your mom wasn't around. Maybe she was, but she was too harsh, too critical, too checked out. And now you overcompensate by trying to be everything to your child, right? You're trying to break that cycle. You're trying to do better. But let me tell you something I had to swallow the hard way. Being everything isn't possible. And trying will only break you down. Okay. Let me spill some of my own tea here. Okay. When Everly started going to her dad's, I thought, okay, I'm going to use some of this time to rest, reset, maybe even work on my goals. Like, I'm going to build this business empire and do all this stuff. I'm going to be so productive. But the second the door closed and she was gone, guilt set in like a fog. Okay. I'd sit on the couch scrolling aimlessly, telling myself I should be cleaning, I should be working, I should be doing more. And you get trapped in this just like spiral, this cycle of mom guilt. And listen, sometimes the guilt was so heavy that even when I did rest, like took a nap or watched a show, I couldn't enjoy it because guilt was right there whispering, good moms don't do this. Good moms don't sit down and take breaks like this. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your potential. But here's where everything shifted, okay? One day I was watching Everly play and she stopped and she said, "Mommy, are you happy?" And in that moment, I realized if my child is asking me if I'm happy, then maybe what she needs isn't for me to be everywhere all the time. Maybe she needs a mom who knows joy, a mom who isn't running on fumes, a mom who isn't eating herself alive with this self-inflicted guilt, a mom who glows even when life isn't perfect. That was my wake-up call. And it hit me. The only way I can give her that is by giving myself some grace. Moms do not give themselves enough grace. Give yourself some grace. All right, let's get practical because I know we all want the good juicy tips, right? You could sit here and listen to me ramble all day about mom guilt, give you my story, but how do you actually start flipping the script? Now, I did my research. I come prepared, friends. Number 1, reframe. I read a study by psychologist Dr. Brené Brown, and they talk a lot about how guilt and shame thrive in silence. When you reframe, you drag guilt into the light. Instead of saying, "I feel guilty for going to the gym," you could say, "I'm proud. I'm teaching my daughter strong women make strong moms." It's the same action, but it's a different truth, right? Number 2, boundaries. Boundaries aren't selfish, okay? They're sacred. I used to overbook myself. I was such a people pleaser, right? I'd overbook work, friends, family, play dates, and then wonder why I had 0 patience left. Now, if I need rest, I say no, okay? And yeah, sometimes people are disappointed, especially if you've been a people pleaser your whole life. That first no to people is gonna erase all the yeses, okay? But I'd rather have a child who sees me protecting myself and my peace more than a mom who runs herself into the ground. Because what kind of example is that setting, right? You want to raise strong kids, you must be strong yourself. Okay, number 3 sounds a little crazy, but hear me out. Hear me out. I know it sounds wild, but talk back to your guilt, okay? Truth talk, your guilt. Fact check that little. When guilt says you're failing, you're doing terrible in your head, right? Say, "No, I'm not. No, I'm mothering in a way that works for us." It's going to feel really silly. It's going to feel really, really silly, but this one helped more than I thought it would. Kind of strange. If it helps, you can even write down affirmations. So like, you could say, "My presence matters more than perfection," and just repeat that to yourself over and over again. Tape it in a place you're going to see it often, right? Tape it on the fridge, tape it on the bathroom mirror. Affirmations are powerful and they can be very, very helpful in this instance. Number 4, celebrate the small moments, okay? There is a famous parenting study. I don't remember the name of it right now, but I will try to link it. And it found that what impacts kids isn't how often you're present, but how engaged you are when you're there, okay? Let that sink in. Your kid doesn't remember you folding laundry. They remember you belly laughing on the couch watching a silly movie with them, okay? Your kid doesn't remember the one time you went to the gym for an hour and left them with their grandparents, right? They remember the time that you sat down and built a fort with them in the living room. Number 5, and the last one, identity, okay? Finding yourself is how you're going to flip the script. And this one is huge, okay? You need to find yourself outside of motherhood. For me, it's podcasting, writing, building my little empire, okay? Going to the gym. For you, it might be painting, singing, dancing, hiking, doing hair, whatever makes you feel alive, right? Because when your child sees you light up in your own life, it gives them permission to do the same thing in theirs. So I have a little challenge for you to kind of start closing this episode out, right? And it is a journal prompt, so pull out your journals. If you're driving, please don't do that. Come back to it later. But I really want you guys to sit with this one, okay? If my child grew up treating themselves the way I treat myself, would I be proud? If your answer is no, it's not the end of the world, okay? It just means that it's time to shift, right? And if you're listening to this episode, chances are you feel it too, because your child is watching, not what you do for them, but how you do for yourself. the things you do for yourself. If you run yourself dry, they'll think that's normal. If you give yourself grace, they'll learn that too. I'll tell you what I remind myself all of the time. Your kids don't need a martyr, okay? They need a model, not a perfect mom, a human mom, okay? They need human. They need to see you being real. Or else one day they're going to grow up and feel all these negative feelings and think, well, my mom seems so perfect. How this doesn't make sense, right? They want a human mom. So, to the mama listening to this in your car, and maybe the one hiding in the bathroom or the pantry from your toddler, maybe you're folding laundry at midnight, I see you, I feel you, and I want you to remember that guilt is loud, okay? Guilt can be so loud, but it's not the truth. It is not the truth. Your child isn't sitting there tallying up your mistakes. They're storing away your hugs, your I love yous, your laughs, the good memories together, your warmth. That's what they'll remember. And the only way that you can do all of those things is by recharging and refilling your own cup and letting mom guilt go. So the next time guilt pops up, tell it, thank you for your concern, okay? But we're glowing anyway. If this episode hit home for you guys, I so would appreciate if you could share it with another mom who might be carrying that same weight. I know mom guilt is such a big struggle for a lot of us. And make sure you're following Glowing Anyway on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the things for real talk, encouragement, maybe a little humor. Because healing is hard, but we don't ever have to do it alone, and you shouldn't do it alone. All right, mamas, until next time.